Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Well, it's the pain I can assure you will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome to episode 147 of Double Feature Horror Show. This week covering Trick or Treat from 2007, and yet held back, kept at the back of the class like it had, well, what is the term these days? I don't even know. But held back 2 years and released in 2009. Shocking state of affairs. I hope you're well. I'm a very sort of sunburnt, sleep-deprived horror show. That is the risk at the moment. Hot weather and as you'll have heard last week, a brand new human, a daughter who is, like me, a bit of a creature of the night, enjoying the graveyard shift, which I am both proud of and yet absolutely exhausted by already. So bear with me this week, chat. I'm supported, as we are doing a horror anthology stream, by our resident anthology expert, Murgoot. How you doing, Murgoot?
Oh, very well. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure as ever.
I'm a bit tired too. Early doctor's appointment. Yeah.
You've been hit by that, and our usual co-host TCG, he's been hit by the IRL bat as well and knocked out of action. Oh dear. And at top of this, we've got disgraceful stream sniping, disgraceful from Sargon and Scrub. How dare they? How dare they? Honestly, what's it coming to? Well, everyone catching it live, you are much appreciated, and all you wonderful folks on the replay, you are very appreciated as well. And I've got a request for you. It's probably best left in comments on this show, but we have episode 150 coming up, and I sort of feel we should do something special for that. We should do a really good film, and so I would like your recommendations. So chat and anyone on the rewatch, drop a comment on this video, put your request in. We'll get some ideas going. We'll probably do a poll next week and see if we can decide on what we're going to do for the episode 150 special. Hopefully should be a good one. Ideally something we haven't covered before, but we can be flexible. Maybe there's something we got horrifically wrong that we need to fix. Who knows? But that said, so yes, 150 coming up. Let's see, and and the usual. Since we're pressing stuff, this is as we're on YouTube. You know what the algorithm does. Unfortunately, if you don't interact with these streams, unfortunately, YouTube is not going to show it to you. Therefore, as well as leaving your comment requesting what we should do for episode 150, do like the stream. Leave a comment, general praising. What does Scrump say? Praising Al Gore's rhythm. It all helps. Unfortunately, that is how YouTube tends to work. And if you want to go a little bit further than that, you'd be much appreciated. You can join the channel as a member, either here or on Subscribestar. Leave a super chat. All of that stuff is possible, good, and very welcome. But with that said, as I'm hugely sleep deprived, we won't waste too much time. I'll just say links to Murgoot's Twitter is in the description. If you can follow him, you'll get a range of content. You're sort of jack of all trades, aren't you, Murgoot?
Whatever interests me: science, geopolitics, random humor, making fun of corporations anymore.
Oh. All good. So the link is there, and I know you like the old. You'd send me the occasional Weekly World News link, and I was watching an episode of Supernatural the other day, at stupid o'clock, and they showed Weekly World News. I was like, wait, that's real?
Yes, it is. It used to be a newspaper tabloid style, and they've gone to online only because they reduced their budget. I don't know how many people are on their staff, but I used to buy it periodically just for the really humorous stuff, like Bigfoot takes lumberjack as love slave. Bill Clinton is a lizard person. Stuff like that.
Glorious. In this episode, it was like man was it abducted by aliens and forced to slow dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was memorable. If you're interested, folks, that is the episode Tall Tales in season 2 of Supernatural, where that rocked up, and it was a very fun episode. Also, hey, B. Morris, you are indeed early, and Tim WD, welcome back with your excellent cat avatar. We appreciate a cat avatar around here. Right. Oh, and other shilling. The description has changed a tiny bit, you may notice, in that I'm now linking to the Blockbuster series in it. So if you have not seen my complete 7-part series on the rise and implosion of Blockbuster, you can now just follow a playlist. It's linked in the description. I think that is probably enough in the old ways of shilling. And we'll just otherwise get into it and start discussing Trick or Treat, if that sounds good with you, Murgoot.
Let's go.
Cool. By the way, was this new to you, or had you already seen it?
Very much new to me. I literally never heard of it. When you originally said Trick or Treat, I was thinking the 1987 one with Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons of Kiss.
That feels like a bit of foreshadowing. Yes, many films have the name Trick or Treat. Something of a point of consternation for this one, which is why it has the slight... I mean, it doesn't bother me hugely, but Trick or Treat is... it's just a bit odd, isn't it?
It's an Americanism. Just run with it. Toys R Us, that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's the apostrophe as well. The apostrophe hurts me here. Okay. I'll get over it. They were considering many other titles. You can look on the IMDb trivia for all the other things they considered calling it. The only one I'd say really is of note was they were looking at Season's Greetings, based on the original short where the wonderful character Sam debuted. But perhaps wisely, they decided that people thought Season's Greetings was more of a Christmas-sounding title, so they changed it, but then ran into all the issues, and hence we ended up with Trick or Treat. I said made for about 2007 by Michael Dougherty, a man who, let me just get him up here. Where is our good friend Michael Dougherty? Here we go. Yes, a man who has a quite astounding resemblance to the pole face meme, I think. Do you get sort of like Billions Must vibe from this guy? I don't know.
Half in between that, he almost looks like Sam Raimi from afar. But
I literally leaned back in my chair to see if I can make that work. A little bit of a Raimi vibe there, a little bit of a Fred Armisen vibe maybe as well. There's a lot going on there. Not meaning to imply anything bad about the chap. I think he made a very good movie here. He also made some absolutely abominable ones following this.
It wasn't too bad. Superman Returns, not so much. Krampus was hilarious, but I wouldn't consider it good. And Godzilla King of the Monsters, no matter how the critics hated it, it was still great for me. But then again, I'm a kaiju enthusiast.
Fair play. He's as you've basically picked up on. Yeah, he's gone hard onto the new Godzilla strain of movies. So yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. He's been involved in all of them. Now he only directed and wrote Godzilla King of the Monsters, but he did the story and some additional writing for the other two. I think you're fair on Krampus. It didn't really work for me, but I don't think it was bad or anything.
It wasn't great.
Vibe went off.
I laughed my butt off through the whole thing. So that's just me.
No, that's fair enough. It was pushing the comedy vibe, which is absolutely fine. But I know for me the best Krampus movie is no, gosh darn it, Christmas Horror Story, the one with William Shatner. That's the one.
Oh boy!
By the way, how have we not covered that?
I don't know. Was that Full Moon Productions? Because I know he was working with them for a while.
No, not sure about that one. I cannot remember. But yeah, I absolutely love that. It's, again, an anthology. We will get it in. Unfortunately, you know, we're going to be doing a Christmas movie in like June. That's unfortunate. Maybe we'll hold it off. We can hold it off until Christmas season, I think, maybe. All right. So back onto Trick or Treat. Yes, this did have an unfortunate delay. It was booted reportedly because of a Saw sequel coming out. Very unfair, very unfair. But which is
very limited. It had a very limited release also, which really caused it to become obscure. That's probably why I never heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, just a budget of 12 million. It's not a big one, but it's fine. But when you see a box office of under 30 grand, you might think this is the Marvels. You know, no. It's exactly as you said, Murgoot. Very limited release. So people don't be fooled by that. Just because the box office is absolute poison, don't think anything bad. This film was just on a very limited release. Rotten Tomatoes is unified over this. Trick or Treat, 83% positive with critics, 72% positive with the audience. You gotta get those numbers up, guys. The critics are mogging you on this one. You never want the critics to be more correct than you. So it has found its feet. I see there's Asylum Beyond the Dead. You are a fan already. That is good to know. I think people who generally see this come away with a really good impression. It's a debut directorial one from Michael Dougherty, who has, you know, dipped his foot in other horror projects, but as we said, has since moved on. But he clearly understood what he was doing. Something you noticed very early on and messaged was there are a huge number of Easter eggs and tributes to other horrors in this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And also making fun of Disney, making fun of fairy tales, making fun of all sorts of things. A slight homage to Company of Wolves.
There was how about this right here? I mean, I've saved our title screen here. Creepshow. Big tribute to Creepshow in this.
Yeah, the blink if you miss it comic panels.
Yeah.
If you slow it down enough, you can actually get what the story is about before you even get into the movie. But you basically got to go frame by frame.
Yeah, there are a couple of nice things if you'll do that. I'll actually say generally, the details in this movie are absolutely amazing. I'm going to give you one of them right now. So, folks, you would miss this probably immediately. This is about 3 minutes into the movie. In the opening story, when Leslie Bibb is looking around, she's dressed as Awesome-O, I assume. Must be a big South Park fan. And she's looking around. She's hears spooky noises. Oh, looks around. Oh, who's this creepy dude right here? All our attention goes straight to this creepy guy standing right in the center. But if you look to the left, here are the characters. Here are the, by the way, huge spoilers, everyone. Big spoilers. Do I have a spoiler banner? Here we go. Look, woo! Look at that. Huge spoilers. Though that group on the left, those are your ghost kids coming back for the finale. Just where they would be, just as the timeline would have it. Here they are. And they are, shown from 3 minutes. But just so you don't get super distracted, or rather, just so you don't notice them too well and pay attention to them, there is that guy right in the center of frame getting all your attention. It is good directing. It is a clever decision. And it bodes very well for the film, I've got to say. Oh, by the way, John Goris, thank you for dropping $20. That is really appreciated. Very generous of you. Saying, I got a rule about not spending money on movies these days. Couldn't find a free upload. I believe you found one, didn't you? Or did a friend find a free upload?
Not an upload, but free streaming. It was.
Oh, there we go.
On our favorite French site.
Yes. Yes, there we go. It might be a bit of an. I believe it. You might have to do a long trek to find it. Could be a bit of an odyssey to track it down, but I think you could. Anyway, hopefully, I don't think we'll spoil it too much because it's great atmosphere, great direction. We'll be giving you some of the plots. We'll be giving you a little bit of what it does different. But hopefully we won't ruin it for you and you'll just want to enjoy it. But if you duck out, I totally respect it. I think anyone can enjoy this. Anyway, thanks again. Very generous super chat. Much appreciated, John. Thank you. So, as I was saying, this is a great bit of attention to detail that they slip in nice and early. And I was a fan of it. Now, why I went out of the way to include this, not just because I think it's a really good anthology. I'm including this because it's got a little bit of an innovation in it. Officially, there are 5 stories in this. The opening comic says 4. So I don't know if you feel like quibbling over exactly how many tales of terror we have within this. But the big innovation they have that really impressed me was the stories do meld. They are taking place slightly achronologically. By the end of this,
simultaneously.
Yes, achronologically / simultaneously, absolutely. You will catch glimpses of other characters in the story. So our opening lads, where are they? With Tamo Penniket, and I've been so harsh to them here. I liked this shot, and I haven't included one of their faces because I was like, "That's a really nice shot. You don't need to see the actors. It's fine. It's Tamo Penniket from Battlestar Galactica and Dollhouse. You know what he looks like. You forgive him for starring in that Tucker Max movie."
Yeah, he's playing Henry, and he's got his wife Emma with him. And
there we go.
They walk up to the house, and she's like, "Well, let's take the decorations down. I don't like everything like this." And he's like, "Oh, come on, it's the spirit of Halloween." And she blows out the jack-o'-lantern, and he comments, "That's against the spirit of Halloween." She sends him into the house, and she starts taking down the decorations, and it's not even midnight yet.
Terrible.
And he's inside watching one of their
You're searching for a
homemade-
euphemism.
he's searching for the proper it's a homemade fun time tape. And while she's taking down the decorations, and she gets grabbed from behind and killed and strung up on one of the crosses, and he finds her outside, and it leads to the first story, the principal.
Yeah. But in all of that, like, that happens. That's our nice opener. And it functions just like, the standard horror movie opening kill. Like, we're used to that. We're used to someone getting off straight away. But even in that, we get a little bit of a hint at a bunch of other stories. Well, I say a bunch. We see a preview of the final story with Brian Cox as Kreeg. We see his house. We see people going by. It's like, yeah, nice little hints at the other stories going round. And we spend a fair bit of the movie just kind of moving through them, seeing them intersect, seeing the characters pop up in each other's stories before we sort of focus and let them pay off. The first one that really pay off, I mean, we should probably do our summary. So should we sort of summarize the stories?
Yeah, the one that this leads into is Principal, where a fat kid is bashing pumpkins and knocking things off fences, and he comes up to a house and steals all the candy, and he turns around to leave, and here's Principal Wilkins, who chastises him and sits him down and starts getting rather mean with him. That's bad for your diabetes, kid. He sits down, hands the kid a big chocolate bar, and the kid starts puking up blood and chocolate and dies in Principal Wilkins' lap. Principal takes him inside. Principal's son, Billy, Principal Wilkins takes the fat kid out back, and there's a pre-dug grave, and Principal's son, Billy, keeps interrupting him. It's Halloween, let's go trick-or-treating. I've got a date tonight. Can I carve the pumpkin? Can I carve out the eyes? Yes, in a minute. And
it's played for good comedy, I think.
Yeah. Billy's quite annoying.
Oh, harsh.
And then Kreeg's dog and Kreeg interrupt him, and you find out there's another body in the grave that sits up and starts making noise, and the principal whacks him in the head and then whacks him in the head again, and Principal goes in the house, and Billy's like, is it time to carve the pumpkin? And Wilkins grabs the knife, hides it behind his back, and they're bouncing down the stairs into the basement. He grabs the back of Billy's head, massages him a little bit, raises the knife, cuts away as he's stabbing, and it's not Billy, it's the fat kid's head on a Lazy Susan.
Expectation subverted twice.
And then it cuts away to the second story. You want to take this one?
Yeah, I can do that. Just on Principal, though, while we're here, do you recognize Dylan Baker? Like, do you associate this actor, Dylan Baker, with anything? Because there's like one movie I think of him for.
I couldn't place him which movies I've seen him in.
No worries. I think specifically of a Todd Solondz movie called Happiness, where he plays. Okay, oh, euphemism time. If you're watching last week, then we would call him a Haribo enthusiast. Much to the chagrin of that company. However, if you did not watch last week, then he is he'd be how can a BBC executive, if you get me, a 1970s BBC executive in that movie. Yes, a nonce. We're talking about a nonce. And he is grim in that. It's an extremely black comedy, very black indeed. And I just associate him with that role. So when he's a principal who's like so taking a kid in and drugging him, I thought he was just drugged, not dead. I thought of that movie.
With him wandering around the basement, if you stop it, it's arsenic, sodium cyanide. I thought for a second it was arsenic. I thought the label underneath said Old Lace, but it wasn't.
If only.
But that would have been a perfect gag.
It would have been fantastic. Yeah, no, not so much. Yeah, I thought he was cast because of that nonce relation, but the director actually was thinking of that same film as me, Happiness, and cast him because of that. So I'm just like, Dylan, you're just really good at being creepy, bro. Just do you want to offer a few more kids for me? Like, terrible. But the other thing in the story I just wanted to bring in was as well as a comedy interruption by kids, because this is played very much for laughs here. They also just weave in a little appearance by Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming in after the regular trick-or-treaters and being a bit adorable. Yes.
The Sam. I think it's a tribute to Sam Hain, which is actually pronounced. They go over it later in the story, but it's Samhain. Gotta love Gaelic.
It is indeed.
But
yeah, that's why it's called that. I think it's absolutely adorable. It deserves to be an iconic costume. It's super cute. And if you're interested, I've saved you this screen cap because that is the actor who plays Sam out of costume, dressed as a creepy little peeping bear.
Yeah.
Slightly subversive, I've got to say, film. Slightly subversive, having him peek into the changing rooms. Little Hollywood there. I know you filmed in Canada, but that's a little Hollywood. That actor is called Quinn Lord. Very cute.
Peeping on the not so much sorority girls, but as hometown beauties.
Yeah, I mean that does sort of lean us into that moves us basically into segment. The trouble with this one is, as I said, the innovation. We don't get entirely strictly separate stories, so we sort of introduce them in bits and pieces and go back and forward. So we've got a little bit of flexibility in which order we tackle them.
Yeah.
So I'll probably tackle the sorority one now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they very much deliberately used sorority language on this one.
Sorority language and Disney puns and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Disney were happy about this one?
I don't know, but the let's see, what is her name? Rochelle Aites as Snow White, and the old witch, the queen, is the old witch in the background there.
I'm just looking at this these girls in this costume, and I just feel like, how's that for foreshadowing for 2024? What did Michael Dougherty know? They literally did it. They did the meme. All right. Yeah, for some reason, I feel quite happy to leave the screen up. I was going to ask you at this point, you and TCG, does length matter? Specifically, because this movie is only 82 minutes long.
Oh, I thought you were talking about another length, but sorry. I was gonna say, don't ask me.
This is a family-friendly stream, you know.
But yeah, this film is very, very efficient at 82 minutes.
Yeah, I even like saved this thing at the start. Like they play you about a 50-second public information style film, which gives you a tiny bit of foreshadowing. But I almost wondered, was it just trying to get you a little like, we'll shove this in quickly using archive footage to get you an extra minute? Because 82 minutes is pretty. I'm seeing people groaning at the pun there. I'm sorry, Mima. This is how we run the channel. Terrible puns afloat. But genuinely, I just thought I'd throw it in at this point. An 82-minute movie. Do you feel like you got a little shortchanged, or?
Oh no, this movie was very, very efficient, and I enjoyed it a lot. Not a scene wasted. Even the longer, well, we'll get to it, but the longer fight scene, there was a purpose for everything that was done in that. And you could understand it once you finished the film. So.
I'm looking forward to getting to that. Yeah, well, fair play. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have much of an argument over this. It didn't bother me. I was thinking back on all the Italians, like Italian giallos we watch. Loads of those were like 76, 78 minutes. They didn't even get to 80. And I mean, they didn't bother me because I didn't hugely enjoy those ones. They were a bit too rough for me. Like they were a tiny bit incomprehensible in places. Forgive me for the noise there. I'm thinking specifically of City of the Dead, which just ends on a freeze frame. And anyway. But
yeah, City of the Dead was a bit janky.
Yeah. Rough times. See what we do for you guys. See what we do for you. We're committed. But I was going to say, I think I'd have given you quite a different answer back in the day. When I used to go to my local Blockbuster and my local independent video rental store, because I was totally unrationed at the time, okay? I could get my 2 tapes. And I could not go every week. So I had to make some harsh choices there. And I would literally look and see how long the film was. And that would often be the deciding factor for me.
Oh.
And yeah, I know, look, it's not a great metric. But back in the day, that's what I went by. And I think I would have probably looked at an 82-minute trick or treat and gone, oh, I don't know about this, bro. Don't know about it.
I don't know. At that time, I was in college. I was friends and co-student with one of the assistant managers at the Blockbuster. She knew my taste, so she's like, have you seen this one yet? No. See it. Okay.
Very chill Blockbuster manager.
Yeah, she's like, I haven't put it back on the shelf yet. Here, let me check in and check it out. Thank you. And she only led me wrong once. But that was just personal taste. Then again, she saw some of the other stuff that I rented, and like Robot Jocks or Demolition Sunlight or Demolition Sunshine, I think is what the name was. Post-apocalyptic horror. Absolute garbage. Not even worth the 6-pack to get through it.
We've all been there. The one I remember as getting wrong-footed on was Graveyard Disturbance. Absolutely, I think my memory is it's some kind of Roger Corman schlock, and I think they got to like 78 minutes through of hippie teens trapped in a crypt, and then one of them gets some psychic intuition about how to get out and just gets out immediately of the crypt maze, and then they're immediately arrested by police. And the film just ends straight away. It's like, what the heck? Anyway, apologies. Apologies for that detour. So I was going to say, I would have previously probably been a bit skeptical of an 82-minute movie back in the day when I went out to a store to rent it. But I've got to say, in the age of streaming, I'm far less cautious about it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine with this. Actually, I don't feel put out with that. In fact, generally the problem I have is the movies are too darn long now.
Everybody wants to go back to the 2-hour, 3-hour format and
like get your money's worth. No. Yeah, this is an absolute beauty at 82 minutes anyway. So I just thought it was really worth raising that. And I thought people might appreciate the screenshot. So yes. So the topic here, do we what's the name for this story? It's Surprise Party. There we go. That's what this segment is called. Surprise Party. And this is centered around a group of girls from a sorority, and they have a shy member in Anna Paquin. I think we're Anna Paquin appreciators around here.
yeah, I love the comment that kind of left you thinking one way and then later it's explained. She's 22 and still a virgin. Well, she won't be after tonight.
Yes, they're having all sorts of very inappropriate dialogue about their plans in the store, where a young lad is listening in and peeking. Also, again, slightly subversive. It's a saucy set. They are dressing to be very attractive, and the plans that they're talking do sound like they're looking to hook up, and they need to get a date. They need to get a date for Anna Paquin, whose character name I obviously do not remember, but I will quickly look up now.
It's
Laurie,
Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes, excellent choice, as we will come to see. Anyway, they all manage to get themselves dates. They do not appear to be hugely picky as they go out in their Disney princess outfits.
The news team, the guy in the diaper.
Yeah, somehow pick up a guy in a massive diaper. And yes, the two crew from the local news channel, who we had seen filming earlier that night, a lovely rapping. Also, if you pause at their party, you can see a man in a giant hot dog costume, who you also see was at a teacher's party. So, levels of intricacy in this film that we much appreciated. Anyway, they all get their dates, they bring them, but only Laurie is left. She doesn't have a date. We will later, over the course of the film, see that she does pick up a date, but she's going back on her own through the woods. Her sorority sisters refer to her as a bit of the runt of the litter and check in, and they're worried about her. And unfortunately, she runs across a creepy guy. Do I have a photo of him? I do not have a photo of him, but he is a creepy masked guy whose costume looks a heck of a lot like the Voca demon from season 1 of Angel. It's the final episode of a series I know far too well. But yeah, guy in a black cloak, black mask, who corners Laurie and puts some moves on her and bites her. But the next we see is he gets chucked into a clearing where all the other girls are.
Well,
And he's
it's kind of a reveal because all you see is the red cloak with a body inside of it get chucked into the party in the woods.
Mm.
And the other sorority girls show up and reveal that it's a guy in the black mask and he's got broken bones.
Mm.
And then Laurie steps out. See, I told you I could find a date.
Yes, it looks really good, Violet. You get an overhead shot and you see actually all their dates are already dead, and this guy is just broken and quivering. They take the mask off. It is Principal Wilkins, dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
meeting his end, having been on a bit of a killing spree that night.
And Laurie straddles Principal Wilkins, and
then
all the girls start stripping off, and with the obligatory sorority girl booby shots, and
Quite
then
a
they
few.
start stripping off their skin, taking off the skin on their legs like it's stockings.
Yeah, we go into werewolf transformations. The
It's one of the
sorority
more
girls are
original
literally a pack, and we don't see Laurie transform fully. She gets a little bit of face change, but everyone else changes in these really quite quick, quite dramatic fashions. Just as you said, it's like the skin is peeled off and then splits and it's chucked aside suddenly. The werewolf skin below is kind of sticky and gooey and matted down. These wolves, I think, look absolutely great. It's the same team that did the effects for Underworld, if you're interested.
Cool.
And my memory of that is that one used a lot more CG, probably a lot earlier than it should have. And I think they've learned here. These wolves look stocky, they look muscular, they look nice and savage, and a lot closer to actual wolves, I feel, than the Underworld wolves. How do you like these transformations, Murgoot?
I thought the stripping off the skin like it's clothing was one of the best, most original. I won't say the best transformations. I'll reserve that for like American Werewolf in London or some of the other practical ones. But they did a wonderful job making it original.
Yeah, do you think it's fair to say like they didn't want to showpiece it as much as those movies as The Howling or American Werewolf? They've only got a $12 million budget, so I think they really had their limits. But with what they decided to do, they kept it snappy, and I felt something they did really well in this is almost make it like a music video. Like they were just really building in a lot of motion with the cuts, so it was very rhythmic, really working with the song. I'm massively biased. The song they used was Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams Are Made of These, which I think is a bit of a classic.
Yeah, his cover is one that he made it his own just because the song is already creepy as hell. Marilyn Manson doing it just steps it up.
It gives it such a unique energy, and it works with the very dangerous sexual vibe that's already been going, turns it into basic, almost like a dance sequence. I loved it. I think it came off as lovely, atmospheric, visual, savage as well. This really worked for me. Now, the actual thing they're getting at here in this story, the idea that it's the idea, I think, that the sorority girls aren't sort of nice, innocent girls. They're getting to sort of take off the roles expected of them and kind of unleash the beast a bit.
And the punchline is Lori is no longer a virgin because she has her first kill. She wanted to wait to make it the perfect one, and yeah, she caught a serial killer.
I mean, it certainly is memorable, and it's a great twist around. I mean, talking about great twists, obviously they knew what they were doing. She is Red Riding Hood, and
yeah, the
and is
party
also a
scene
werewolf.
before and the transformations. Like I said, it's a callback to Company of Wolves and if you've seen it, you know the scene.
I don't think I haven't actually seen that. I believe Company of Wolves is that Neil Jordan directed that one?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. Is that worth watching? Is that a good one?
Yes, very much so.
Oh. I'm intrigued.
Definitely 80s, and it's another story within a story, and it's really good, if a bit acid trippy, but
I am intrigued, and I think that is going on the list. But, yeah, the basic message in here, what they're really doing is kind of a classic. You know, your vampires and your werewolves have often stood in for sort of unrepressed sexual urges. And what they've shown is that in the sorority, girls become like a pack, like a wolf pack, a lot more empowered, a lot more in touch with primal urges, and also in charge. It's I mean, it really makes me think of, I don't know if you had this, but in Britain in the early 2000s, when this was going around, there was kind of a ladette culture. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Murgoot.
Ledettes and chavs.
More like, yeah, kind of to an extent, but the idea is like, yeah, women, you should be going out and just kind of outboying the boys. You've got to be the party animals. Pun very much intended here. I kind of feel like they were feeding on that a little bit, and more than any kind of, I don't know, girl power turnaround thing. I didn't read that at all from this.
Nope, they knew they were sexy. They flaunted it, and they were going to get what they wanted, and they certainly did.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, it's there's a whiff of Buffy and Buffy thinking in this, in the whole in how in how a monster becomes a metaphor. Sorry, chat. I think I probably mentioned I am extremely sleep deprived today. Let's see. Okay, Andrew in the chat has said he ain't British. That's all right. Don't worry. See, this is why I try and translate. In fact, generally, folks, you know, we've got a cross-cultural panel here. So if I say something or Murgoot says something you don't know, just do ask in chat. We'll try. So I think that's some of the ideas going behind it. It's not just reversed and subverted your expectations. I think there's a little bit of cultural moment here, carried off extremely stylishly. But after that, I wouldn't say it's my favorite of the stories by a long way, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'll move us forward to the next story, which, spoilers, is 100% my favorite by a massive margin. Muggy, are you good to take us through this one?
Sure. Let's see. The Halloween School Bus Massacre is how it's referred to on the comic. 4 kids are going trick-or-treating, and they're talking about picking up another girl. Macy is the queen bee, and there's an older guy, a younger kid, and then another girl, and they're collecting jack-o'-lanterns to pay tribute and they meet up with Rhonda, who I don't know if I can say the word, the R word.
Yes.
Rhonda's a bit autistic, and Macy's a bit of a bitch to her.
And yet dressed as an angel.
Yep. And Chip's like, come on, she's not that bad. Let's bring her along. And it's a nice costume, Rondo. Thank you. I made it myself. It's Halloween's the best time. And they head down to a abandoned rock quarry. And Macy tells the story of how a bunch of troubled kids, and basically short bus kids, their parents got sick of them and hired the bus driver for the private school to make them disappear. So he's got them all chained in the bus. It flashes to what happens. He's got them chained to the seats in the bus.
If I may, you also get slightly overexposed footage, and it with the extra sun, which massively clashes with the rest of the palette.
Yeah.
To me, it looks a heck of a lot like certainly the opening of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just like that quality of very sunny, very yellow, overexposed, and slightly what's the phrase? Slightly noisy footage. It's got a lot of noise and grain on it.
Similar to I was thinking one of the scenes out of Jeepers Creepers, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre is much better fit for that. But yeah, he's got them chained down, and he gives each one of them candy as he's checking their chains. He crashes through the gate of the quarry and parks right near the edge. And one of the kids breaks free. The bus driver gets tripped. The kid who's free gets in the driver's seat and drives it over the edge. And the only person who crawls out of the bus is the bus driver, who was on the floor when it happened. The masks float, various masks float up. And then it switches back to Macy and Rhonda and that crew. And the bus driver was never seen again. We're here to pay tribute. They walk to the elevator, an old rickety steel cage elevator. And it'll only fit 3. I'll send the key back up so that Rhonda and the little kid dressed as a pirate can come down after. And although jack-o'-lanterns start going out as the Rhonda and pirate kid are coming down.
Oh, it's a great shot. Yeah, they're just looking into the darkness, and the only thing they see are those 3 jack-o'-lantern lights. I'll just say I don't have many photos of this because I wanted to sort of save it for people. It's you may have heard me say this before, folks, but I kind of have a I need a better term for it, but kind of like the money shot policy is like, if there's a big visual payoff in a film, like, you know, when the monster's face is finally revealed, I tend not to show you a screen cap of it, just because I if I like the film, I want you to enjoy it and I want you to see that moment in its power. So I've stinged you on a lot of images from this story because I think they're amazing and should be witnessed in the whole film.
The
Sorry,
one
Maggie.
shot that we forgot to mention during the sorority party is at the end after the principal has been eaten. It flashes to a shot of Sam on a log just kicking his legs, just watching the proceedings.
Yes. Sam rocking up in every story. Yeah, absolutely. Good point.
Yeah. Okay, back to the story. Rhonda and the pirate kid get down. And then the pirate kid runs off, leaving Rhonda to investigate. And the other three kids have jumped into the water and covered themselves in moss and dirty water. And they come crawling up and scare her and chase her around. And she falls off the lip onto the rocks, and they come and see if she's okay. The older boy's the only one who's sympathetic, and he helps her up. And then Macy kicks the last pumpkin into the water, and forget this, we're going. And Rhonda breaks away from him, and all the kids bust swarm out of the water and kill off the 4 kids who tricked Rhonda.
It's a nice moment when they sort of pivot from the joke just going a bit too far. When the kid, gosh, what's his name? Schrader. His name is Schrader. He sort of takes it as like, oh wait, we went too far here, and it's sort of, it does a nice pivot in the tone to try and make it a bit more serious. Drops the comedy, makes it a better scare, a bit more of a fragile atmosphere, and then that really helps when they pivot to the actual ghosts turning up.
The ghosts turning up and killing the 4 kids, and as Rhonda's riding up the rickety elevator, she gets to the top, puts on her hat, starts walking towards the gate, and she sees Sam, and they nod at each other, and she wanders through the gate.
Yeah. A neat story. We will have a bit more to hear from it later on, but otherwise, pretty great. Pretty basic premise, to be honest. You have seen it before. The fake ghost story, the ghost story fake out when you then meet the real ghosts, etc. You know, we've seen it, but it is pulled off so well, and there are elements of it that I think really made it land a lot harder. I mean, I've already hinted this is my favorite segment by a long way. I don't know where you are on that, Murgoot.
I agree.
The main element that really worked for me is I just thought the fate of the should we go with special kids? Should we go with that? Yeah, it's handled sensitively, and part of that is what made it land really, really well. There's kind of a Todd Browning Freaks vibe here. I'm saying that in the nicest way. The costumes that these kids have, they are ever so slightly wrong as a kind of reflection that the kids are seen as a bit different.
Well, it's also the 30 or 40-year-old rubber masks style rather than the convincing stuff that...
Yeah. But there's like an interesting thing that they've got these masks here which are reflecting a sort of non-normal distortion. Basically, the masks are trying to make them look a lot more like freaks with slightly weird physiognomy, like they are monsters. So that's kind of like how the parents see them. And it just makes it a lot more... I can't say this word on this channel anymore. Pathetic in the sense of actually activating pathos.
Yeah.
Sorry, Harrian.
It's more pathos
tragic,
versus
maybe.
pathos. It's more existential than that, just because you know what's coming. It's been explained that there's special needs, and they're being sent off to be disappeared.
Which makes it even worse when they've got these masks, which are basically making them. The masks are presenting them as basically non-human, and they're being killed off for not being kind of human enough. It's yeah. There are echoes. It's tragic. It's really grim. The moment that I found super chilling is that the kid in the vampire mask knows instantly that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, the whole time I was thinking of how terrified he must have been. And I was like, that got me. That really got me.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see a comeuppance. But yeah, that just, him panicking when the bus driver went the wrong way and he instantly knew. So I just got that feeling of, yeah, they knew something was wrong. This isn't catching them by surprise, coming out of nowhere. They'd have been panicking. Yeah, I was very empathetic on that one. That was hitting me hard. So I found that story really effective. I said, yeah, the visuals sell it. We will get more on it, but just like the little bit when he's given them candy and then you look and they're chained. That hit a bit hard, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just looking at we've seen a complaint from Waifu that yes that yes Rhonda forgetting her glasses was a kind of a really big deal in the dark on the beach prior to getting to the lift, but apparently she will be fine to get home without them. People who wear glasses, you can come to your own judgment about that. And Mima is pointing out, can we just take a moment to talk about all those amazing jack-o'-lanterns? Yes. Rhonda's house is amazing. In fact, the whole point of Rhonda, shall we say, and I think they reused a lot of those jack-o'-lanterns. In fact, I know they do because I was a nerd and I checked if they just replaced some of her jack-o'-lanterns at Kreeg's house at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a story reason for it, so it's all fine. The fact that they're picking on Rhonda and they call her Rhonda the, we'll have to say R word. Again, it's a story about a special needs kid getting revenge.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's also it said she's a Halloween traditionalist. And she explains while she's walking with the pirate, she explains what Samhain is and how it's known by various names and came to be known as Halloween. And it was a time of sacrifice where the dead walked the earth, and making it sound beautiful. And the more she talks, the more creeped out the pirate kid is. Like, she's really getting into it.
Oh, I respected that. I felt a bit Rhonda there. Yeah, that was nicely done. It's sensitive. I've also seen this comment. Tim WD. Fun fact: JFK was shot dead on Elm Street, Dallas, Texas. He was indeed, and that fact I bring up and put a lot of significance on in my commentary for Nightmare on Elm Street. If you want, you look on my channel now; they're all out. They were made as part of the Blockbuster Project Rental Breakdown, a whole commentary for Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think that fact is actually extremely significant because in the whole movie, no one says Elm Street. There is no sign saying Elm Street. So you have to wonder, where's that name come from? Anyway.
And then later on in the picture, you see Rhonda with a wagon hauling some jack-o'-lanterns.
She recurs, yeah. This film is a delight for just spotting the other stories be set up and occur in the background. It's an absolute delight for that.
Well, when she's hauling the wagon of jack-o'-lanterns, the sorority girls pull up in the car and they're all laughing and celebrating.
So I think we get the sense like their story has already finished at that point.
Hmm.
Are we right? Yes.
Yes.
It's a nice payoff. It's a nice payoff. But where do all those jack-o'-lanterns end up? Well, they end up at the house of one John Carpenter resembler, Mr. Kreeg. We're seeing after Schrader, we're getting another guy with a German name that sounds bad. That's a shame, isn't it? That's a shame. It's not spelt like German Krieg, meaning war, but it sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think it's probably, if you're going to draw a direct tribute, it could be to Krug, the main villain in Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Murgoot. Did you have anything else to say on that story?
Aside from it was really well done, and I fully appreciate what Rhonda did.
Yes. Rhonda did absolutely nothing wrong. And also, I'll say just the film looks really good. I hope you're picking that up from the screenshots I am sharing, but the film looks really good. But the best design, I think, is in that story. The school bus sunk into the quarry lake, I think, looked really, really gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was just a great set, really good design. Anyway, over to Kreeg. Now, I'm worried I'm going to mess this up because you're picking up things about the story and how the fight plays out and saying it has significance. I'm worried I've missed stuff here. But
I'll chime in.
Okay, thank you. So Kreeg, played by Brian Cox and deliberately made to look like John Carpenter. If you're doubt that, watch John Carpenter in Body Bags. You can find it free on YouTube, and there's quite the resemblance. Kreeg is living alone. He's looking like a grumpy old guy. He is not down with the Halloween spirit, and he's alone, drinking in his house, helping himself to a nice bottle of Glenn Macpherson whiskey. Glenn Macpherson is the name of the cinematographer who did an absolutely amazing job, and is a classic case of the production team having a lot of fun with the props. So kudos to them. He's alone. He's got his lovely dog called Spite. Not Spike. We did look at the subtitles. The dog is called Spite. And it's the same dog that we saw barking at Principal Wilkins. We know from earlier in the film, these guys are neighbors. We will see their interaction play out from Kreeg's side later in this. But he scares off a bunch of trick-or-treaters and steals one of the candy bars, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He uses Spite, who's dressed in a skeleton costume, to chase them off.
It's innovative. It's a nice fake out, played well. So he goes back in to drink and enjoy himself in his stolen candy bar. And he gets another knock and then goes out, and suddenly he's got a load of jack-o'-lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
How did those get there? They look a lot like the ones Rhonda had. I wonder if when she waved to Sam, maybe Sam asked her to do him a favor. I don't know. Could happen. Okay. Maybe it's Sam, maybe it's Rhonda, who knows, but they end up there. It's interesting. You could theorize how this happened. He's suddenly on alert. Someone's messing with him now. He's enjoyed messing with trick-or-treaters. Now they are messing with him. He's going around with a bat. He's looking around his property. He goes into the backyard. He has that interaction with Wilkins. And then he goes back in and finds out that actually Sam has got into his house. There's a weird moment when he's We had to do a lot of pausing and rewinding over the position of the dog in the garden. Because we saw like him close the door and lock Spite outside, and then turn around and Spite was back in the house. And we wondered if that was a screw up there, but no, I think there is a dog door.
Yeah.
So it's all fine, Harry, relax. It's all good, bro. We did check for you. We did. We're dedicated. Anyway, you go into a kind of classic. I'm going to summarize it, and maybe you'll be annoyed with me. You go into a classic sort of stalking within the house scenario. We've had the build up to this. We know Sam is significant, but Sam breaks in and attacks Kreeg. Kreeg gets a gun, turns around, thinks he sees Sam, accidentally fires at where he was, but then blasts a pumpkin instead. Sam's a tricksy character. TLDR follows around the house, follows upstairs. You get an absolutely wonderful Pet Sematary reference. In the sense of a nice fake out over where Sam is in this room, and then he's under the bed, angle gets slashed, obvious Pet Sematary tribute. We all like it. We all like it. But then the visuals take it up a notch. I love this stuff. I just think this looks so gorgeous. I used it in the thumbnail for this stream, but I just think this looks absolutely great. The set design, very creepy, nicely shot. Again, Glenn McPherson, fantastic cinematography on this one, and wonderful design on Sam. He is nice and memorable.
Yeah, I like the gas jets coming out of the jack-o'-lantern lighting up the room.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So they fight below the house. It gets a little bit Home Alone.
Yeah.
Pursuing Sam, Kreeg falls down the stairs, tripped up over candy. One of those moments you might struggle a little bit in this story. You might feel that the effort to bring some Halloween traditions into it is a bit forced, like having him trip on candy to fall down the stairs, or have him be actually slashed by a very sharp bitten lollipop. I wouldn't fight complaints of that too hard, to be honest. If people wanted to say they thought that was a bit too forced, I would probably go with that. Sam also uses a candy bar with a razor blade in it that I believe he gets from Principal Wilkins.
Yeah. And Kreeg, Sam stops attacking when Kreeg hands him the candy bar because the spirit of Halloween is fulfilled on that, and he leaves, waves him off.
Well,
and
there was also an amazing tribute we have to catch here. The thing you might wonder about, this is a supernatural entity, right? I mean, Kreeg is armed with a shotgun, so it's got to work. So Kreeg does actually manage to catch Sam, shoot him right in the head. Oh, sorry, he does get the sack over Sam's head off, showing you, I think, a pretty well done CGI recreation.
Yeah, halfway in between the pumpkin mask from Halloween 3 and Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, you've nailed it. Actually, that's a great description. Again, folks, it's kind of it's a big payoff shot. So I'm going to stinge you on it here because I want you to watch this movie and love it. It's very well done, even though it's early 2000s CGI. I think it looks great. But there's a kind of payoff for horror fans here, because Kreeg is a smart guy. He shoots the thing in the head. Then he goes up to it, reloads his shotgun, and fires 2 more shots into it. No You are probably primed, having watched a few of these. Oh, he's going to get close. He's going to get close with his big gun. He's going to get so close to check something, and then surprise stabby. No, he unloads 2 rounds into him, into Sam from a distance, and it's kind of like, oh, good, sensible. Harrion would have been so happy at that bit. He'd have loved it.
And it even shows him getting frustrated when he realizes that he has to reload.
Yeah, it's a nice logical moment. Now, of course, Sam is a supernatural creature, so we should not be too surprised. And how supernatural? Well, the hand's been blown off. When did the hand come off, actually?
That was one of the shots that Kreeg hit him with.
There we go. That was it. Oh, TCG. Thank you very much. TCG coming in, saying £2. Thank you so much, friend. Sorry for no show. Here's money. 8 out of 12 burgers. Respectable. Very respectable score. Yeah, I can see that. TCG. I mean, could we get that score up again? could I maybe sell you on 9 burgers here? Maybe. I'd have thought. I mean, there are some terrible puns I can make here, but we won't do it. No, 8 is very respectable. I'm probably annoying so many people with that. Much appreciated. No worries, man. Real life happens to all of us, but I'm glad you like this one. And hopefully see you back next week. Anyway, sorry. The reason I highlighted this, yes, the hand comes off. Yes, we do need to know that Sam is a supernatural creature, but also that's more like it. There's some fine meat patties there. Anyway, that'll do it. Okay. The hand gets blown off. The reason I'm taking so long to get to this, the hand is crawling around like we're back in Evil Dead. But brilliantly, Brian Cox, who looks like John Carpenter in this, says a line, "You've got to be flippin' kidding me." He said something like that. I think I may have got one word wrong. You've got to be flippin' kidding me, which is, of course, a tribute to The Thing. You know, that moment when you realize you're facing something supernatural that is not killed as easily as a human would be.
Well, to reference The Thing again, not of this world.
Oh, well, I went and missed that. Darn it. Yeah, it chapter 2 in, when was that, 2019? They did the same thing, far less interestingly, far less originally. Like, they literally did the same severed head with spider legs coming out of it. And I'm like, oh, that's lazy. It's a lazy... I think I did a review of that way back in the day. I was so soft on it. I would tear that movie apart now. Anyway, distracted. It's a nice tribute. It's a lovely Easter egg. We appreciated it. But as you said, Murgoot, that the only thing Sam wanted was for Halloween to be respected. Once that candy bar is given back, it's all gravy. Yeah. Sam puts back his lovely, puts his sack back on and heads out. However, we do see that what Kreeg has been up to has been burning photos from the past. And you realize that Kreeg was the bus driver. And now Sam may be okay with him. But there's other spirits of Halloween who are here to have their say.
Well, I love the fake out jump scare where the group of 3 kids come up to the door and he opens it up and they all scream and he jumps. It's, oh, they lift their masks. Ha 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 ha. Nice mummy costume. He goes to go back inside and then the kids from the bus intercept him.
It is such a great payoff. They are there with their costumes all rotted once again. And just as, where is it? Where's the one I wanted to show you guys? Yeah, just as I showed you in the beginning, this was foreshadowed. You were distracted, but on the rewatch, you will notice these guys on the left.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. It's a great payoff, and after this, it just smashes to comics, doesn't it? Comic screens
Mm-hmm.
showing his fate.
Well, it shows Sam killing Emma again. Shows her blowing out the candle and her
That's it.
tearing
Yes.
things down, and Sam kills her off, and then it
Yes.
the comics.
Yes, apologies. Yes, it finishes off the. Yes, sorry. As I said, horribly sleep deprived. Yeah, absolutely. Pays off the ending from the start, and you realize that opening story was happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a nice touch.
Oh yeah, the simultaneous stories all interwoven, and I love the second kill scene with Principal Wilkins, where he's making out with the girl in the alley, and he bites her, and then she notices all the blood running down her hands, screams, and grabs onto Emma in her robot costume, and she's shaken off by Emma, thinking it's just an act.
Yeah, Emma, not a super sympathetic figure. I do have a screen cap of that. She doesn't have a particularly nice fate, but over the course of the film, you see that she's not particularly, not sympathetic, as you say. They don't help the girl, but that does sort of help you work out the timeline. It's a nice moment. It's a nice moment. I'm just seeing stuff that TCG has put in the chat here. So there's the voice actor for a somewhat controversial character called the Unknown Dead by Daylight has passed away. That is, I remember the drama, but goodness me, yeah, that's interesting. So I can't. I haven't played Dead by Daylight, so I can't say it's a franchise I'm particularly deep on. But I do remember the controversy that was kicked up over it. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Well, obviously sympathies. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Dear, that's so weird to sort of have that. Be subject of such a controversy, and then it all kicks off. Dear. Yeah, I'll flash up that extra explanation on screen there. Thank you, TCG. Oh dear. Yeah, case of form of encephalitis, so brain swelling. Oh man, that's rough. That's really rough. Oh dear. Yeah, as you say, a trademark derail TCG. Yeah, you got me there. But that's a weird one. Goodness. Anyway, so yes, we see the payoff. We see the circularity. You might even have a bit of a Dead of Night recall there if you want. Not exactly, but in some ways, you do have the circularity that may make you think of Dead of Night, the absolute classic from 1945. But it's a wonderfully fitting payoff for Kreeg here. A very decent turn by Brian Cox, with a wonderfully memorable costuming for the kids coming back to get their very justified revenge on him. And that is that brings us to the end of Trick or Treat. Was there anything I missed in Kreeg's story there, Murgoot?
No, you covered it pretty well.
Oh, a few. I know there was a bit of a debate over whether the dog lives or dies.
Don't know. There is the part where he's banging on the window trying to get Wilkins' attention while he's being chased by Sam, and Wilkins basically curses him and blows him off. But that's about the only part that circles around that we missed.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Seeing that interaction from both sides. Yes.
Yeah.
I think the director said the fate of the dog is left deliberately ambiguous. Mr. GB, dog better live. Well, you can believe it. You know, it's not confirmed that the dog died. You know, and it's a charming Jack Russell, so I'm sure it will be finding a good home. There we go. Dog adopted by ghost. Thank you, Catherine. You've saved it. You've absolutely saved it. We're going to go with that. Yeah, it's stylish. It's stylish stuff. Was there anything else you wanted to pick up in the story?
Brain fart. Nothing that I can think of right now.
No worries. No worries. I feel like I've got to say for Harrion, I feel would be a bit upset that the guy just happened to be burning the photos or the evidence of his life as a bus driver on this night. Why would he do it this night and not other nights, etc., etc.? I'll give you that one. That's a fine Harrion point. I'll allow it. Otherwise, it's just really satisfying. You know, it's this thing of setting something up, paying it off later. It's lovely. It's really nice. And I really enjoyed Sam's motivation that actually he's quite sweet. All he wants is to see the Halloween traditions respected, you know? He's just adorable.
He's adorable. I wouldn't say he's sweet, but he's the spirit of Halloween vengeance.
But adorable vengeance.
Yeah. I want to know. I couldn't trace which stuntman or stunt dwarf did the stunts, but
yeah, they did have to have stunt artists in for this. And yes, there was a young stunt actor. You know, I mean, you'd have to. That Sam's getting knocked around all over the place. I don't know how you have like a stunt actor for that at like 8 or something. Yeah,
it's got to be a little person, a dwarf.
I think looking into the production, I thought it was an actual child.
I'm just talking the stunts.
Oh, the stunts. No, the stunts. I think the stunt actor for Sam was also a child.
Wow. Okay.
Imagine being like, you're like parents, like, yeah, you're fine to be injured. That's fine. We'll take the risk. It's good money. Yeah. Well, having delivered a rather excellent film, Michael Dougherty did want to do more. He was in talks to do a Trick or Treat sequel fairly soon after.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, nothing came of it. And he was trying to keep it going for a while, but it seemed to be just sort of buffeted around and not go anywhere. So they announced it in 2013, but then there was a management change and it got dropped. But there was a fairly recent update on that.
Well, he did do a comic book in the mid-teens for it. But yeah, looks like there may be a Trick or Treat 2 based off of that comic.
Yeah, fairly recent development. So I only saw this on the Wikipedia just now. Well, just before the stream, I just checked if there was anything I missed, and it said that in October 2023, they've got the screenplay drafts complete. They'd been a bit sidestepped, stalled in their progress due to the writer's strike, but they are looking to get it made. So I don't know. The guy has been active in big productions. He's been active in the new Kong and Godzilla movies, so he probably has his connections.
Mm-hmm.
They shoved hundreds of millions of dollars at those movies. Surely if he's got a good script now, he should be able to get a few million to make a sequel to this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would really like one.
He may be able to self-fund it rather than get Bryan Singer to fund it.
Maybe. Oh
He may.
yes, I mean that is the other unfortunate element of this that I should have mentioned. Yes, the involvement of one Bryan Singer. I don't know how much I want to say about him on a stream.
I'll keep mum.
Yes, no comment on Bryan Singer. But yes, maybe I bet if he could probably crowdfund it by now. This film has such a cult following. I bet he could
with the writing
something.
credits he got and the directorial from Godzilla King of the Monsters, he probably has enough to self-fund it for the most part if he gets the right production studio.
It'll be worth it. I mean, he made this for 12 million. So he can work on a small budget. He can work on a small budget and make something that's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is just a beautiful movie. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's really well done for the budget that it had, and just all the Easter eggs, all the in-jokes, all the horror movie jokes. The slams on Disney were great.
I did one day. Did they have any problem with the Disney compliance department? But maybe there's nothing they can do about it. It's obviously a costume you're in, therefore it's licensed, etc. Who knows?
The teacher's party with the 3 little pigs and the hot dog, that was just wrong. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, this film does get in touch with kind of an aspect that Mean Girls really nailed about Halloween. Halloween is a very thirsty holiday, really, isn't it?
Anymore, it is.
Yeah. They're kind of unashamedly leaning into it. And of course, horror movies are not ashamed to feed some baser appetites. This film certainly is happy to lean on it. It sort of strands a sort of weird place though in its ratings, because while this is a bit of a raunchy movie, in some ways it's quite tame. Like the thing that I found really incongruous, given that the gore in it is actually quite minimal. I think it came out at like a PG-13. Let me just confirm. Was it PG-13 or was it R?
It came out as an R because of the surprise party undressing.
It's so weird because there's that, and then there's a very brief moment in the opening story when Tamo Pennickett's character Henry is watching his nature video, and you get brief boobs, and I'm like, did you need to? Like, this generally feels to me like it's a bit more PG, but it has flashes of very horny R rating, so it seems to like save its adult film points for raunchy content rather than violence or swearing.
Yeah. Well, I think there's 2 F-bombs, which would take it out of PG-13 also.
That'll do it. I believe it's got a fairly it's tame 15 in the UK, if I recall.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah. I feel if you took out the boobs and one of the F-bombs, you could get this as a 12A in the UK.
And a PG-13 in the US.
I wouldn't have minded. I would not
Yep.
have minded. It's
Nope.
it's good vibes. It's stylish. It doesn't need to chuck a ton of gore on there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Gently Benevolent. Raunchy. It's very saucy. And some of those girls were frankly Calipagian, as I'm sure you noticed and appreciated.
Oh, yeah.
All words not used enough.
Yeah.
I hope the sequel happens. I really do. I'd love to see more from this. More of this stuff and less Godzilla versus Kong. Shall we round up? I think sleep deprivation is hitting me. Shall we round up with our scores and thoughts? I know Mr. GB has already pitched in his scores based very much on whether the dog lives or not. Very fair. We're going to go the dog lives. Remember, Catherine's give us a headcanon. The dog was adopted and is now having good fun times with the kids on the ghost farm.
Yeah. Well, let me give mine a good solid 9.5. I really enjoyed it. 9.5 burgers. Quite a bit of cheese. Just for the in-jokes and just the general weirdness. A little bit of ketchup. And it was a thoroughly enjoyable film for me.
Nice. I'm wondering, is it what would maybe raise it a burger or two for you?
Tell you, pick up the fight scene between Kreeg, pace it a little better between Kreeg and Sam, and lose the nature video.
Yeah.
And that's about all I could say. That would bring it to a good solid 10 for me.
Nice. Yeah, the opening story with Henry and
Emma.
Thank you, Leslie. Henry and Emma. That does require people to behave a bit of a silly way. So yeah, fair. And Tim is dropping a potential 12 out of 12. I like it, yes. So hopefully it lives up to it when you do see it. But I really hope I've sold you on this, Tim. This is a really good one. Yeah, I'll go a little bit higher. I think it's very brusque. I go for a 10. 10 burgers with, not as much ketchup as I hoped. A few more jalapenos than I expected, but otherwise high quality mints, good cheese. Long-time burger appreciators will notice many homages to other burgers in this film. And I appreciate the pacing. I appreciate how it does not mess around. It moves through 82 minutes. This is a brisk film that doesn't waste time. And the innovations to the anthology format, whereby it doesn't just cut off the tails and say, we are now entering story A. I liked that. That feels a lot more modern.
Yeah, the interweaving of the stories was great. I was expecting an anthology. I wasn't expecting it to be an anthology with all the stories interweaving. That was one of the best parts of the production of it.
Yeah, really clever method. So I like that. I'd see that again. Good vibes. If I'm taking off I'm taking off some points because I did feel the opening story lacked it sort of had people being idiots, really. Basically to make the stuff land. So little weak for me on that point. I take off a bit. The music, I think, could have been better. And And I mostly think that because it stood out in only 2 places for me, which is a nice theme song as Sam is skipping away,
Mhm.
and when they used the Marilyn Manson track. I thought, this is an absolute banger.
I think they used most of their music budgeted on the Marilyn Manson song.
Almost certainly. So while it was amazing in those 2 scenes, I think it just ended up a bit weak elsewhere. But otherwise, solid, very solid. And another score coming in 9 out of 12 with all the cheese and toppings. But if you watch on a Halloween night, it would be a 10.5 actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
It would definitely gain from that. And I'd say, if you, like me, like to do a double or a triple feature on a Halloween night, at 82 minutes, Trick or Treat is your friend. And
Andrew
Andrew,
Beiser,
yeah.
I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Yeah, I appreciated it better the second time around when I started searching for Easter eggs.
Yeah, there we go. I just caught yours, 10 out of 12. Yeah, we agree. Same score. Yeah, it doesn't. I tell you, the other thing is, emotionally, it doesn't aim for a hard hitter outside of the story with the kids. So that's the other area where I'm docking at a few points, I'd say, is when I give a 12 out of 12 score, it's because it's got the emotional element. So if it sounds a bit harsh, and also films need to have Tony Todd in to get the 12 out of 12. There is a Sam Todd in this, but she's white. So I don't think there's any. I almost wondered, is that a relation to Tony? But no.
No, it's Sam Todd, aka Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda. I did wonder. I wondered if one of the sorority girls was maybe related to Tony Todd, but no, not so much. Yeah. Okay, well, that is our thoughts on Trick or Treat. I think overwhelmingly very positive. This is a strong recommendation, folks, and it is up free on the internet. I'm sure you can find it, and I believe Mima said it tends to go out for free around Halloween, so do look it up. Now, as for your horror homework, this might be a little harder to get your hands on. Horror homework for next week is going to be Late Night with the Devil. Now, that is on Shudder now. We wanted to cover it earlier, but it wasn't out. It was out in cinemas, not on Shudder. It is on Shudder now. You could do a free trial of Shudder, or maybe a friend with a new email address could start a new trial of Shudder for you, and you could go round to your friend's house and watch Late Night with the Devil at theirs, for instance.
And if you want to be official and pay for it, YouTube and Amazon Prime have it available for rental, but it's a bit steep. It's, I believe, YouTube, it's $7.99.
Yeah, that's a bit much. If it's amazing, maybe I'll tweet out or put a message on here and confirm that it's worth it. But I will see TCG watched it, and TCG was very impressed, as I recall. So I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be weirdly current and watch that. I had a few people say they really wanted to see that covered, so we're happy to do that. And if you do start a trial of Shudder, can I also recommend watch a movie on there called The Mortuary Collection. That is a nice modern anthology that they've got with Clancy Brown as the well, you know what? It's a lot like Tales from the Hood as the Mr. Smith character. Not quite as memorable as that Mr. Smith, but good fun. Yeah. All right. So yeah, there we go. That is, let's see. That is Trick or Treat. That is our thoughts on it. You have got your horror homework, which is going to be Late Night with the Devil, which you can watch on Shudder via a free trial, or a friend's free trial. But do give it a go, and we'll be back next week to cover that, taking a brief break from horror anthologies. But I hope you enjoy it, and that is all for tonight. Thank you very much, Murgoot.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And thank you, chat. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen Trick or Treat before, I hope we've persuaded you to give it a watch, because it's a bit of a winner. It's a bit of a winner. All right. That is everything for me. And I will sign off now. Thanks, y'all.